There are several ways convicts outsmart probation officers. And man, I'm putting friends of mine at risk by putting this video out, so you better hit the like, comment, subscribe button. That being said, I'm not going to let you know every single trick because I currently have friends that were unjustly incarcerated, political activists that are on probation, and I don't want the probation officers knowing every single trick in the book. Most of what I'm telling you on this video is stuff that the probation officers kind of already know anyway. I'm not going to give you the methods and sources of friends of mine that are convicted political activists that were wrongly incarcerated, that are on probation for no reason. I'm not going to give up their methods and sources on this video. I'm sorry, not going to do it. Let's say you find a safe on the side of the road and you don't know the combination to it. Well, under the constructed possession statute, you're not legally responsible for anything in this safe because you have to have knowledge and dominion or control. This applies to probation. If you're in a house that you don't own and you have a locked closet and the probation officer comes and visits you and they say, "What's in this closet?" You say, "I don't know, it's got a lock on it. This isn't my house." You're not legally responsible for anything in that locked area at all, unless they could prove that you actually have access to that locked area. If they found the key on you, they could prove it. So really smart people on probation have a locked closet that they keep locked but open at all times, and whenever the probation officer comes over, they just push it closed and then it's locked. However, you got to be careful to make sure that your windows are peek-proof. You can't have any peekable windows. If the probation officer peeks through and witnesses you closing that closet door, he knows you have access to it. Got to be careful about stuff like that. But this is one very, very simple tactic. If you have a closet, you put a lock on that closet, you hide the key in an area where you couldn't find it. When they come over, there's a locked closet, and they say, "What's in the closet?" You say, "I don't know. I don't have the key to it. I've never been in there." Very simple way to outsmart the probation officer. There could be any number of things in there, and they'd never be able to prove that you have knowledge, dominion, or control of anything in that closet. The easiest way to outsmart the probation officer is just having a basic concept of constitutional law. If you know that you're living in somebody else's house, then they would have to have a warrant to search that entire house. Okay? They can only search your immediate belongings within your own room, and they can't search the entire house. Absolutely not. Only the places you have immediate access to. So any locked rooms in that house, you by definition don't have access to. The more locked doors and locked safes between you and the object you're not allowed to have, the harder it would be for them to get to it. Probation visits are supposed to be in and out things, and they're supposed to sweep through and see if there's any obvious violations in plain view. That's how it is 99% of the time. If they encounter a locked door, they cannot kick that thing open unless they're sure that you have access to that room. And even if they wanted to kick something open, they'd have to call outside law enforcement. It would get extremely complicated. If there's a locked closet door and a safe, they're basically toast. Nothing they could do about it. The probation inspections in Florida are a pointless charade to anybody that knows the Fourth Amendment and basic constitutional law. Another way convicts outsmart probation officers is just by having things they're freaking allowed to have. You're allowed to have certain tools for your job that could be used as weapons. You're allowed to have flashlights. There's all types of stuff you're allowed to have that they'd probably rather you didn't have, but you can have it. Nobody said you can't have a pool cue if you like playing pool. Nobody said you can't have a baseball bat. You like playing baseball. It is what it is. You can have a flashlight on probation. If you get caught with something like this, that's a no-go. If you get caught with a screwdriver or a wrench, you're fine. That's a tool. You're expected to work and have a job and be a productive member of society. So they trust you enough to have tools. That's the bottom line. If they don't trust you enough to have tools, why are you free and in society to begin with? And this is something to keep in mind. Rather than breaking the rules and circumventing the rules, why not just get stuff you're allowed to have? That's the smartest thing you could do. The second smartest thing you can do is keep the stuff you're not allowed to have in a safe and behind a locked closet that you don't have the key to and you don't have the combination to until you're off probation. And you can go in there to maybe check on it once in a while. Another thing people on probation do to outsmart the probation officers, they literally wait until the probation guy leaves and they know they're not going to get another visit for 2 or 3 days. So if there's some big stupid shit you want to bring out that you're not supposed to have, you wait until a couple of hours after this man leaves. However, I have had probation officers check on me and then return immediately in 2 hours. So they're on to that one. They know that one, okay? So keep in mind, that one will work 9 times out of 10. Probation officers really like to show up during the holidays because it's a day that people think they can't get messed with, and a lot of people do drugs on the holidays and stuff. This one was like, it's actually too predictable. That's the thing. Like, if you're a probation officer, like, you realize how predictable it is. It's like every single time you guys do this. Who are you getting with it? I don't understand. Pretty much Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, one of those 2 days, you're guaranteed to get a visit from the probation officer pretty often. And I think they opportunistically do it because during Halloween and Christmas, they're checking on the sex offenders and shit to make sure they're not doing any weird stuff with kids, you know, because those holidays involve kids going around and stuff. And so they're already out and on duty, so they swing by and check on you anyway, because they're already on duty checking to make sure the sex offenders aren't doing anything they're not supposed to be doing. So if they're already at work, they might as well swing by and get one of their extra visits. You know, they have a certain number of extra visits they have to do, okay? And they do random extra visits. And if they don't like you, you'll get 5 or 6 of them. They could show up every single day of the week if they want to. And I've had situations where they've done that just to remind me that they're watching me. They were watching me close when I was on probation. But I did outsmart them, not because I was some crazy genius. It's just because I knew the Fourth Amendment and I didn't own the house that I was living in. It was a home that was owned by my family, so legally, technically, they weren't able to search the whole place unless they had a warrant. And even if they did search the whole place, they'd have to prove that it's my thing if they found something I wasn't supposed to have. But don't worry, they ultimately called in the federal fucking government to make sure that I'd get a VOP. So they called in the FBI to make sure I was in compliance with probation. That's a weird one, isn't it? A true story, though. But guys, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next one. Jordan Jareb, signing off.